equations. A chemical equation is a representation of the process of formation of products from reactants. You can write a chemical equation either as a word equation or as a symbol equation. An example, when zinc reacts with oxygen, that gives you zinc oxide. You can write this as a word equation where zinc plus oxygen gives you zinc oxide, or as a symbol equation when you put the symbols of both the oxygen, the zinc, oxygen, and also for the product which is zinc oxide. However, this equation needs to be balanced. It's not balanced equation, and also we need to include the state symbol. So simple equations, for example, zinc plus oxygen that gives you zinc oxide. When you try to visualize this reaction, you can see, or this equation, you can see that two of the zinc atoms will react with one of the oxygen molecules to give you two zinc oxide. This is a balanced equation. To balance your equation, you need to put the number that represents the number of formula or number of substance that was used in this reaction or produced in that reaction. So 2 zinc plus 1 oxygen will give you 2 of the zinc oxide. Now this equation is balanced, and then we need to consider adding the state symbol. The state symbol will give you or will represent the state of the different reactants and component in a reaction. We have four different state symbols. The first one is for solids, which is S between brackets. The second one is liquid, which is L. Gas is G, and then if it's an aqueous solution, then it's an AQ between brackets. In this reaction, we have the zinc, which is going to be solid, so we're going to add an S after the zinc between the brackets, and then the oxygen is of course a gas, so a G between brackets, and zinc oxide that is formed is going to be a solid, so we're going to add an S between brackets. So this is the full equation balanced with the state symbol added as well. Balancing equation. There are simple rules that we should follow when we try to balance an equation. Balancing equations means that all the atoms have to have the same number on both sides of the equation. So for any elements, all atoms have to be exactly the same. So you need to make sure that it's the same number. And then you would put numbers in front of the formula. This formula could be an element and or an atom like zinc as we've seen, or it could be a molecule like oxygen or like zinc oxide. When we balance an equation, always start with the metals. If you have metals in your equation, start by balancing the metals first, and then you carry on with the other elements and try to leave the oxygen and hydrogen to the end, especially hydrogen because we mostly have a lot of hydrogens in our equation, and it would be much easier to balance the hydrogen at the end. So let's practice balancing equation. So sodium hydroxide reacts with sulfuric acid to give you sodium sulfate and water. In this reaction, we will start with the metal, which is sodium. On the left-hand side of the equation, you're going to find that there is only one sodium. On the right-hand side, which is the product, you're going to find that there are two sodium. Now we need to balance the sodium. To balance the sodium, we need to add 2 in front of the sodium hydroxide. Now we have two sodiums on the left hand side and two sodiums on the left hand and on the right hand side. And then we will look at the sulfur. So we have one sulfur here from the sulfuric acid and one sulfur there from the sodium sulfate. So no change for the sulfur. And then we move on to oxygen. On the left hand side, we're going to find there are two oxygens here from the two sodium hydroxides and four oxygens from the sulfuric acid. So total is 6 oxygens. On the right hand side, you have four oxygens from sodium sulfate and one oxygen from water. To balance this, we need one extra oxygen here. So in order to do that, so we can add 2 in front of the water. So now we have 2 molecules of water, and now the oxygen is balanced. Finally, the hydrogen, we have two hydrogen from two sodium hydroxide, two hydrogens from two sulfuric acid, so total is four. On the right hand side, four hydrogens from the two water, so the hydrogen now is balanced. Now your equation is balanced equation and you managed to balance it.